No.
Acts 5. There are a number of things going on within this chapter itself, but the two big ones are God stepping in an extreme way to deal with the problem of lying, and also then how that affects how the church is viewed in and around Jerusalem where it took place. We start the chapter with Ananias and Sapphira, who sell their land, decide to keep part of the money back and not give it all over to the church when it was theirs to keep, but they lie about the problem. First, Peter confronts Ananias about this, and Ananias drops dead. And Peter says, this is because you lied to the Holy Spirit and you lied to God. Then when Sapphira turns up, his lovely doting wife, she does exactly the same thing and lies, and she dies. So God steps in that respect in the ultimate judgment on what the early church is doing to prove a point more than anything else. We struggle with it, especially as it's in the New Testament, and we see God as a judge more predominantly in the Old Testament. When we look at the New, we see very little judgment in the sense of extreme problems with it. And God steps in here, and we have to deal with that situation that for whatever reasons, and the myriad, he stepped in and they died. The upshot of all of that is people were then afraid to join with the numbers. It says later on as we get past the chapter, or we get to verse 13, 14, that it held the church in high esteem, and people were afraid to join in case they were treated in the same manner also. It was an extreme instance of God stepping in to override a situation, to prove a point, but that point being proved actually helped the church to grow. When you look at John 15 rather, and you look at the pruning of the branches, this is basically what God did here. Jesus talks about it as a parable form, and in Acts 5 you have God doing it in a very real way, pruning away the lies, the dead wood and everything else. It's something for us to hold on to and think about, that when we think we can hold back, when we don't give of what we're doing, we can actually turn around and let God down. And God isn't necessarily always happy about it. So those are the two main things going on here. There's an extreme intervention by God to sort a situation out. And then because of that extreme situation, people were afraid just to come along and join the church as a social club. If they came in, they knew they had to follow what God was saying and doing.